Okay, guys, it's possible Bitcoin could get a pump pretty soon in the next 24 to 48 hours, and this is per classical TA, and this is strictly based on the fact that Bitcoin is a hedge against the US dollar. I've covered this chart plenty of times. When the US dollar is coming down, Bitcoin is pushing up. When the dollar pushes up, Bitcoin comes down. Currently, the same situation right now. We are in a falling wedge. The dollar is coming down. You see it is starting to break to the upside. And as the dollar was coming down, you see Bitcoin's pushing up. Now, I'm sure all of you noticed, I've noticed myself, that while the dollar has started to push up, Bitcoin's pretty much going sideways. So I would imagine, if the dollar continues to push up, maybe Bitcoin will continue to go sideways. I think over time, if the dollar pushes up quite a bit, I think that will cause Bitcoin to drop. But if it's going sideways while the dollar is pushing up, I think if the dollar comes down, that will definitely push Bitcoin up. So this was a video I put out on January 30th. I'll put a link up to it now. All these videos I reference, I'll have a link in the description. So I was saying this chart here, every time I hit an orange ring, the dollar pushes up. Hit the orange ring, dollar pushes up. And I was showing with this green squiggly line here that I expect when you hit this orange ring, the dollar will continue to push up like the previous two rings. This is the published version of this chart, just to show you how this played out. This was published on January 29th. If I hit play, you can see it played out exactly. Every time we hit the ring, we pushed up. So you say, well, why am I saying that Bitcoin might get a pump? Well, again, per classical TA, this is a rising wedge. This is the dollar index. This is the top. And this is the bottom right here. And again, a rising wedge is a bearish pattern. It breaks to the downside, I think 70% of the time. It breaks to the upside about 30% of the time. So within the next 24 to 48 hours, either this is going to break to the upside, which again I think would be bearish for Bitcoin, and I think this would be a pretty substantial move, or if we break to the downside, we could have a pretty sizable drop, which would be very bullish for Bitcoin. So that's why I'm saying, per classical TA, just going on the fact this is a rising wedge, Bitcoin is a hedge against the US dollar. If the dollar drops, I think that would push Bitcoin up. That's why I'm saying we could expect a possible pump if we break this. But again, if we push to the upside, then that would be potentially bearish for Bitcoin. And some people have been saying that I've been wrong. So look, I put this video out on January 28th. I'll put a link up to it now. I was saying that we were potentially topped out around 41,284. So far, we have been topped out there. We have not got above this point. If we get above 41,284, then I'll admit I was wrong. Because the dollar has been pushing up. I expected that it will push up higher. And I'm saying if the dollar continues up, Bitcoin is going to start correcting, coming down to some lower targets. So again, if the dollar continues pushing up and we get above this high right here, then I'll admit I was wrong. Bitcoin's become decoupled from the US dollar. But currently, guys, and this is this chart, we have not got above this point. I mean, we came down a total, when I was calling the top here, we came down a total of over 30%. While yes, we have pushed up, currently we are up 26% from where we dropped. Again, if we come up and we get above this point with the dollar pushing up, again, my TA is busted. But until that happens, I do think it is very likely that we continue down. So I'm going to give you some price targets, cover a few things as well. So on this chart, you can see that this has been a lot of support and resistance, this fifth channel line right here. So if we push up, watch to get rejected at potentially 38,527. Your current support on this chart is 33,926. If we drop, your next support will be right here. You can see this trend line, or this fifth channel line, has been support and resistance. So your next support is going to be around 30,200. If we push up, again, the next, according to this chart, your next fifth channel line above is 46,119. Obviously, we hit that target. We break above our previous all-time high, and that's when, hey, maybe Bitcoin's become decoupled from U.S. markets and being a hedge against the U.S. dollar. So this is another video I put out. This is just showing you price targets. I said if we pushed up, I put this out on February 1st. I'll put a link up to it now. I said our upside target, if we get above 34,450, your next target, and again, keep in mind this is an angle. So take note this red line right here, 36,570. it's at an angle, so if you hit it sooner, price is lower. The longer it takes to hit it, the price will be higher. This is this chart. You can see we did come up. We actually found support right here on this this fib channel line here around 34,627. Notice we pushed up. We got topped out right at this fib channel line, this red one that I was referencing in that previous video. So again, these targets are on point. Again, if we would have hit it sooner, it would have been 36,671 if it made contact here. It took longer to make contact, so we topped out at 36,838. But this does give you points to potential long and short from. Right now, we are at resistance, so it's possible we could come down and test 34,915. If you push above this point, your next resistance above is 38,304, and you can see this is the trend line we topped out, or the fib channel line we topped out at. So if we push up, your next resistance above will be right here at 39,471, which will still be below our all-time high. Again, if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture, this is our next very strong resistance above. All these fib channel lines will be support and resistance. You can see how well prices have been respecting this. But again, I'm just giving you smaller targets to the upside. Currently we're at resistance, so it's very possible we could come down and test 34,915. This chart here, I was making updates on Twitter about this. We were in a rising wedge, and what I do is I buy at support, sell at resistance. And notice that we came down, we found support right here. This was a rising wedge. Seems like it was a fake out to the upside, came back down, but notice we found support right here on this fib channel line that was previously, look, you can see it was resistance right here, support, resistance, resistance, and now it's support. So again, we're at support right now, and we are testing the bottom of this rising wedge. Keep in mind, a lot of times what happens when you break down from a rising wedge, you'll come up, you'll test it as resistance, and then potentially come back down. So again, anything is possible. I'm just giving you support resistance levels to pay attention to. So your current support is 35,915. Your next very strong support, according to this chart, if I zoom out and show you, this fib channel line right here has been a lot of support and resistance, and it actually goes back a good ways. So a likely point to catch a bounce would be 33,845. Your next strong support below will be right down here at 31,861. And if we push up, your next resistance to watch, 37,419. And then another one above around 39,000. This here, this is where I was referencing this video I put out on February 1st. I'll put a link. Actually, it's the same video back here. I already put a link up to it, but this is just a little further into the video. I was talking about this chart. This is the Coinbase Weekly 3-hour 12/30/20B, and I was pointing out this red ring. If I said if we push up, a likely point to get rejected would be this red ring or this white ring. This is the actual chart. Notice that we did push up. We did hit this white ring. Let me go to a smaller time frame here. Notice we did come up. We tested this white ring as resistance, came back down. As soon as we crossed it, this was a pivot to push up. We found support on this brown ring, became resistance. So the red ring above, we didn't quite make it to it, but I did point out that would be a likely point to get topped out. Notice I have this right here, 36,848. You can see we did not make it above this point. So it is very possible we could be topped out at this point to come back down. Take note, this is the next ring down right here. Let me make this so you can see it. So this is next ring below. So look, a possible point to get rejected if we push up a little bit more, 37,000. And if we come down, next support level is going to be this fib channel line here, around 33,515. And then you have this ring right here where we bottomed last time, or close to it, around 31,615. But what I'd like to point out, the most important point that needs to hold, if we break this support right here, this is the support that needs to hold. If we come down and we break below, and again, this gets higher as price moves along, this gets higher each time. If you'll notice, this was resistance, flip support. Notice we found perfect support here, perfect support here, perfect support here, and notice it's an upward trend. So this is 27,754. This is 28,772. This is 29,094. So again, it's an upward angle. So that means as price moves along, that target gets higher. So where I have it currently, if we come down and we break below, if we make contact at this point right here, if we break below this, then I think we are definitely coming much lower. But again, this is a point to watch. If we break below 29,827, I think we're going much lower. Again, these are just some price targets on this chart to pay attention to. This is just a published version of this chart right here. This is, again, you see right here, Coinbase Weekly 3-hour 12/30/20B. Just want to show you how this chart played out. This is published on December 31st. Let me hit play. And you can see, just to show you that this chart, I don't move anything on the chart. You can see we topped out at this ring. We were riding up this red ring, came down, found support on this ring. This is where we bottomed, right here. Where I have right here we bottomed here 1, 2, 3 times. You can see that's where we bottomed 1, 2, 3 times. As I'm saying, if we come down, we break the support, we can come much lower. But you can see we're testing. This red ring was a lot of support. We did push above it. Now it could be resistance for us to push down lower. Again, that is this red ring right here. And there's a lot on this chart, but you can see this red ring, support. Came down to support, resistance. So it is possible we could come back down. But again, do watch the dollar index. If the dollar does break to the downside, I think it's very likely we could push up. Again, that was a published chart. If I do also update you on stocks, this was a tweet I made on January 28th. I was saying this would be a likely point to short the Dow at 30,892. Let me go to the actual chart here. This was that point, 30,980, around this 30,947. Notice this was resistance. We dropped a total of about 3.5%. And I made another tweet right here. This one was this is 22 hours ago. I said this would be a good point to potentially short the Dow. You notice this was resistance, this yellow line and this red line. So I said if you want a chance to put on the Dow, it would be at this point. And again, you can see how this played out. Currently the Dow's coming down, so this was 2 points. I told you a good point to short the Dow. That seemed to be, the first one played out perfectly. This one seems to be playing out as well. So again, I do think it is likely if the dollar does continue to push up, I think all markets are going to come down. Again, if markets are coming down, they're going to be jumping out of markets into the US dollar. And since Bitcoin's hedged against the US dollar, if the dollar continues up, then this likely Bitcoin will continue down. So definitely pay attention to the US dollar. This is the published version of the Dow Jones. Just want to play it out so you can see this is published on December 31st. I was telling you in the previous videos, we're potentially topped out at this yellow line, which we were. We have been topped out here, and you can see we've been coming down. But just to show you, this chart did play out. This is another chart. Again, I have a lot of stocks charts. I published, this is Pfizer, and the reason I created charts for Pfizer, I did one for PayPal as well as BioNTech and one of the other pharmaceutical companies that were putting out the vaccine. But I want to show you how accurate this chart was. When I published it, again, this is November 21st. Notice I said this yellow ring right here would be resistance if we pushed up, and this yellow ring here would be support. And the reason for this, you can see how well price respecting this ring. This resistance. Notice it was support, resistance. So again, if you're respecting a fib circle to the left, you can respect it to the right. So that's why I said if you push up, this is your point to get rejected, resistance ring. If we drop, this is your support. If I hit play, you can see how accurate this was. You came up, perfect resistance, came down and hit this white ring, was a pivot, sent it sideways. Notice this yellow ring was resistance. We found support. So this played out exactly. Resistance, support. So this is just giving you an insight or an example of how these charts work and how fib circles can help you find potential upside targets and downside targets. So again, guys, all I'm saying is, look, I think over time, if you give it time, I do think, just like I showed here, if the dollar is coming down, when the dollar eventually pushes up, and when I say push up, I don't mean a small little pump like this, all right? I mean when the dollar actually starts breaking up to the upside, pushing up quite a bit, I think that's when you're actually going to start to see Bitcoin start pushing down. Again, just pushing up this much, it's not going to affect Bitcoin as much as you know, a move like this. But again, pay attention to the fact that we seem to be in a rising wedge. This could go either way. I'm just telling you, per classical TA, a rising wedge typically breaks to the downside more than the upside. If that happens, especially with Bitcoin going sideways while the dollar's been pushing up, that means if the dollar comes down, I expect Bitcoin to push up quite a bit. But on the flip side, if this breaks to the upside, I think Bitcoin will continue to push down, and I think this point I gave you where we topped out will be the highest point until we come down to test the 20-week or those lower points. If you do want to access these charts, guys, the website is opticalartcrypto.com. The link will be pinned in the first comment and description at Bitcoins, altcoins, precious metal stocks, and tutorials. This is a subscribe link. If you have any questions, just contact me through the contact page. Guys, that's it. Until the next video.